You've got an idea. It keeps you up at night. You're thinking about it in the shower. You're sketching it on napkins. You're convinced this is the one. But here's what I need to ask you, and I need you to be brutally honest with yourself. Is this idea worth the next 5 years of your life? Because that's what it's going to cost you. Minimum 5 years, maybe 10, maybe your entire life. Most people never ask themselves that question. They just start. They get excited. They tell their friends. They register a domain name. And 2 years later, they're burned out, broke, and wondering what went wrong. I've been there. I've chased ideas that went nowhere. I've poured everything into things that should have died on day one. And I've also built things that changed everything. So let me tell you the difference. The first question you need to ask is simple. Does this idea solve a real problem, not a theoretical problem? Not a problem you think people should have. A real problem that real people are experiencing right now. Here's how you know it's real. People are already trying to solve it. They're using ugly workarounds. They're complaining about it. They're spending money on bad solutions because there's nothing better. If you can't find people actively struggling with the problem your idea solves, you don't have an idea. You have a fantasy. I see this all the time. Someone comes to me and says, I've got this amazing idea for an app that does this incredible thing. And I ask them, who needs this? And they say, everyone. Everyone will want this. No, wrong answer. Everyone is not a customer. Everyone means you haven't thought about it hard enough. The best ideas start with one person. One specific person with one specific problem. You build for that person. You solve their problem so completely that they can't imagine going back. Then you find more people like them. That's how you build something real. Not by trying to please everyone, by obsessing over one person's pain until you eliminate it. Let me give you an example of what I mean. When we were thinking about portable music, we didn't say everyone wants to carry music. We said, there's a person who has 1,000 CDs at home and they want all of them in their pocket. That's specific. That's a real person with a real desire. We built for that person. And guess what? There were millions of people just like that person. But we started with one. We understood one person's life deeply. Then we scaled. So before you go any further, define your person. Not a demographic, not an age range, a real human being you can picture. What's their day like? What frustrates them? What do they wish existed? Get specific. Get uncomfortably specific. Second question, would you use this yourself? And I don't mean would you try it once. I mean would you use it every day? Would you be desperate for it? Would you feel the loss if it disappeared? The best products I've ever built were products I wanted for myself. I wasn't guessing what people might want. I knew what I wanted. I felt the frustration personally. And I built the solution I wished existed. When you build for yourself, you have an unfair advantage. You don't need focus groups. You don't need market research. You don't need to guess what features matter. You know. Because you're the customer. Now, this doesn't mean only build things for yourself, but it means you should deeply understand the person you're building for. You should feel their pain like it's your own. If you can't do that, you're guessing. And guessing is expensive. Here's a test. Can you describe your customer's problem better than they can? Can you articulate their frustration more clearly than they would? If yes, you understand them deeply enough. If no, you need to do more research. Talk to more people. Listen more carefully. The danger of building something you don't personally need is that you'll miss the subtleties, the small frustrations, the little moments of friction that seem minor but actually matter enormously. When you live the problem, you feel all of it. When you're observing from outside, you only see part of it. Third question, can you explain it in one sentence? If you can't explain your idea in one simple sentence that anyone can understand, the idea isn't clear enough yet. This isn't about being smart. It's about being clear. Complex ideas can be explained simply. If you need 5 minutes to explain what your thing does, you haven't figured it out yet. Here's a test. Explain your idea to a 12-year-old. If they get it, you're onto something. If they're confused, go back and simplify. I've killed so many ideas at this stage. Ideas that seemed brilliant in my head but fell apart when I tried to explain them, and that's a good thing. Better to kill them here than after you've spent years building. This is actually one of the most powerful filters you have. Because if you can't explain it simply, you can't market it. You can't sell it. You can't get people excited about it. Clarity is everything. And here's the thing about clarity. It's not dumbing down. It's actually the opposite. It takes more intelligence to explain something simply than to explain it in a complicated way. Anyone can make things complex. It takes real understanding to make things simple. So sit down and write your one sentence. Rewrite it. Simplify it. Cut words. Make it shorter. Keep going until a child could understand it. That's when you know you have something. Fourth question. Why hasn't someone already done this? This is where most people get defensive. They say, nobody's done it because nobody's thought of it. I'm the first one to see this opportunity. No, you're probably not. Smart people have been building things for decades. If your idea is obvious and nobody's done it, there's usually a reason. Maybe the technology wasn't ready before. That's valid. Maybe the market didn't exist before. That's valid too. Maybe regulations prevented it. Maybe distribution was impossible. But you need to know the reason. You need to understand why now is the right time. If you can't answer that question, you're probably missing something important. The flip side is also true. If lots of people have tried and failed, you need to know why they failed. Not so you can avoid the idea, but so you can avoid their mistakes. Sometimes the market is ready and everyone before you just executed poorly. But you have to understand the history. Do your homework. Research who's tried before. Find the dead companies. Read the postmortems. Talk to the founders if you can. Understand what went wrong. Learn from their expensive lessons so you don't have to pay for them yourself. Sometimes you'll discover that the idea is genuinely impossible. The economics don't work. The technology doesn't exist. The regulations are insurmountable, and that's valuable information. Better to learn that now than after you've invested years. Other times you'll discover that the timing was just wrong. They were too early. The market wasn't ready. But now it is. That's exciting. That's an opportunity. Fifth question. Are you willing to be embarrassed? Because your first version is going to be bad, really bad, embarrassingly bad, and you have to ship it anyway. Most people wait too long. They polish and perfect and tweak until they run out of money or motivation. They're so afraid of putting something imperfect into the world that they never put anything into the world at all. The only way to know if your idea works is to let people use it. Real people, not your friends who will be nice to you, strangers who will tell you the truth, and the truth will hurt. If you're not willing to be embarrassed, you're not ready to build something. Because building something means being wrong in public. It means people criticizing your work. It means failing where everyone can see. That's the price of admission. Pay it gladly. I think about this a lot. The gap between the vision in your head and the reality you can build today, that gap is always huge. Always. And you have to ship anyway. You have to put the imperfect thing into the world, knowing it's not what you want it to be yet. This is emotionally hard, especially if you care about quality, especially if you have taste. You know what good looks like, and what you're shipping isn't good yet. It's painful. But here's what I've learned. The only way to get to good is through bad. You have to ship the bad version to learn what needs to be better. You can't think your way to a great product. You have to feel your way there through iteration after iteration. Sixth question. Can you stay obsessed for years? Because that's what it takes. Not weeks, not months, years of thinking about the same problem, refining the same solution, pushing through the same obstacles. Most people underestimate how long things take. They think they'll build something great in 6 months, maybe a year, and then they hit year 2 and they're exhausted. Year 3 and they're questioning everything. Year 4 and they're looking for the exit. The ideas that win are the ideas that survive. And survival requires obsession, not interest, not passion, obsession. The kind where you can't stop thinking about it. The kind where every setback just makes you more determined. If you can imagine getting bored of this idea, it's not the right idea. Find something you could work on for a decade without getting tired of it. Let me tell you what obsession looks like. It looks like waking up at 3 in the morning with a solution to a problem you've been stuck on. It looks like seeing connections everywhere between random things and your idea. It looks like annoying your friends because you can't talk about anything else. Obsession isn't healthy in the traditional sense. It's consuming. It takes over your life. But it's the only way to build something truly great. Casual interest doesn't change the world. Obsession does. So be honest with yourself. Are you obsessed or are you just interested? There's a big difference. And the market will reveal which one you are. 7th question. What are you willing to sacrifice? Because you will sacrifice something. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's time with your family. Maybe it's your social life. Maybe it's your health if you're not careful. Building something meaningful has a cost. And you need to decide up front what you're willing to pay, not after you're in too deep, before you start. I've seen people destroy their marriages chasing ideas, ruin their health, burn through their savings and their relationships and their sanity, not because the idea was bad, but because they never set boundaries. They never decided what was off limits. Know your limits before you start. Decide what you will not sacrifice, then protect those things fiercely. This is important because the work will take everything you give it. There's always more to do, always another problem to solve, always another opportunity to chase. If you don't set limits, the work will consume everything. So decide now, what are your non-negotiables? Maybe it's dinner with your family every night. Maybe it's 8 hours of sleep. Maybe it's 1 day a week completely off. Whatever it is, protect it. Build walls around it. Don't let the work breach those walls. 8th question. Do you have an unfair advantage, something that makes you uniquely suited to build this? Some knowledge, some skill, some experience, some relationship, some asset that other people don't have. If you don't have an unfair advantage, you're competing on effort alone. And there's always someone willing to work harder than you. Always someone with more money, more connections, more resources. Your unfair advantage doesn't have to be huge. Maybe you understand a specific industry because you worked in it for 20 years. Maybe you have a technical skill that's rare. Maybe you know the exact right person who can open doors. Maybe you've experienced the problem so deeply that you understand nuances others miss. Find your advantage. Build on it. If you don't have one, develop one before you start. Think about it this way. In a race where everyone is equally talented and equally hardworking, who wins? The person with the advantage, the shortcut, the inside knowledge, the special access. You need something like that, something that tilts the odds in your favor. Without it, you're just hoping to get lucky, and hope is not a strategy. 9th question. Can you be patient? Real ideas take time to develop. The world doesn't change overnight. People don't adopt new things quickly. Markets move slowly. Impatience kills more ideas than bad execution. People give up right before the breakthrough. They pivot too quickly. They chase the next shiny thing because this one is taking too long. Patience isn't passive. It's not just waiting around. It's continuing to work when there's no external validation. It's trusting the process when the results aren't there yet. It's having the discipline to keep going when everyone else would quit. If you need instant results, don't build anything. Go get a job. Building requires patience measured in years, not months. Here's what I've noticed about timing. Things always take longer than you expect. Always. Whatever timeline you have in your head, double it. Maybe triple it. That's closer to reality. And here's the other thing about timing. The breakthrough often comes right after you feel like giving up. Right when you've decided it's never going to work. That's when things finally click. So if you quit too early, you miss it. Patience is a competitive advantage. Most people don't have it. They give up. They move on. They chase the next thing. If you can just stay in the game longer than everyone else, you win by default. 10th question. What happens if this fails? Because it might. Most things do. And you need to be okay with that before you start. I'm not saying expect failure. I'm saying plan for it. Know what you'll do if it doesn't work out. Know how you'll recover. Know that failure won't destroy you. When failure is survivable, you take better risks. You're not paralyzed by fear. You can be bold because you know the worst case scenario isn't that bad. But if failure would devastate you financially or emotionally, be careful. Build a safety net first. Make sure you can survive the downside before you chase the upside. Think about it in terms of regret. Will you regret trying and failing, or will you regret never trying at all? For most people, the regret of not trying is worse, much worse. That's the regret that haunts you. So structure things so you can try. So failure is survivable, so you can take the shot without betting everything on it. Then take the shot. Now let me tell you how to actually test your idea. Because thinking about these questions isn't enough. You need to get out of your head and into the world. Step 1. Talk to 20 people who have the problem you're solving. Not friends, not family, strangers. People who have no reason to be nice to you. Ask them about the problem. How do they currently deal with it? What have they tried? What would they pay for a solution? Listen more than you talk. Take notes. Look for patterns. If 20 people all describe the same pain, the same frustrations, the same failed attempts to solve it, you're on to something. Here's how to find these people. Go where they hang out. Online communities, industry events, social media groups, forums, anywhere people with your problem gather to talk about it. And here's what to ask. Don't ask, would you use this thing I'm building? That's a leading question. People will say yes to be polite. Instead, ask, tell me about your experience with this problem. Open-ended, let them talk. The truth is in the stories they tell, not the answers to yes or no questions. Step 2, build the smallest possible version. Not the full vision, not all the features, the absolute minimum that solves the core problem. Something you can build in weeks, not months. This is hard because you can see the complete picture. You know what it should eventually become. But you need to resist that urge. Build small, ship fast, learn quickly. We call this the minimum viable product, but I actually don't love that term because people interpret minimum as crappy. That's not what I mean. The minimum version should still be good. It should still work well. It should still feel right. It's just small, focused. One thing done well instead of 10 things done poorly. Step 3, get it in front of real users as fast as possible. Not a landing page, not a wait list, the actual thing. Even if it's ugly, even if it's incomplete, get people using it. Watch how they use it. Where do they get confused? What features do they ignore? What do they ask for that doesn't exist? This feedback is gold. No amount of thinking can replace it. There's something magical about watching someone use your thing for the first time. You see everything differently. Every friction point becomes obvious. Every confusing moment is clear. You can't unsee it. And you can't get this perspective any other way. So watch people. Sit with them. Don't explain anything. Just observe. Let them struggle. Let them figure it out or not figure it out. That's where the learning is. Step 4. Look for signs of life. Are people coming back? Are they telling their friends? Are they willing to pay? These are the signals that matter. Not compliments, not polite interest, actual behavior. If people use your thing once and never return, something's wrong. Either the problem isn't painful enough or your solution isn't good enough. Either way, you need to change something. Here's the thing about feedback. Ignore what people say. Watch what they do. People will tell you they love it while never using it again. People will tell you it's too expensive while happily paying twice as much for something else. Words lie. Behavior doesn't. So look at the data. Retention, frequency, referrals, payments. These are the numbers that tell the truth. Step 5. Iterate relentlessly. Take what you learned, make it better, ship again, repeat. This cycle never ends. You're never done. You're always improving based on what real users actually do. The best products are not designed. They're discovered. Through iteration after iteration, through watching and learning and adjusting. You start with a hypothesis. Reality corrects you. You adjust. Reality corrects you again. Eventually you converge on something that works. This process is humbling. You will be wrong constantly. Your assumptions will be shattered. Your brilliant ideas will fail. But if you keep iterating, keep learning, keep adjusting, you'll eventually find something that resonates. Now let me tell you the ideas you should avoid, because some ideas look good but are actually traps. Avoid ideas that require everyone to change their behavior. People don't change easily. They stick with what they know. If your idea requires millions of people to suddenly do something different, you're fighting human nature. Find ideas that fit into existing behaviors instead. This is huge. Behavior change is the hardest thing in the world. People have habits, routines, comfortable patterns. Getting them to change is almost impossible. The best ideas work with human nature, not against it. So ask yourself, does my idea require people to do something new, or does it let them do something they already do, just better? The second one is much easier. Avoid ideas that need perfect timing. If your idea only works if everything aligns perfectly, it probably won't work. The market needs to be ready. The technology needs to work. The regulations need to allow it. The competition needs to be weak. Too many variables. Too much outside your control. Avoid ideas that require massive scale to work. Some ideas only make sense if you have 1 million users, but you have to start with 1. If your idea doesn't work for the first 100 users, it'll never reach 1 million. This is the trap of network effects. Everyone wants to build a platform, a marketplace, something that gets better with more users, but those are incredibly hard to start. You have the chicken and egg problem. No users means no value. No value means no users. If you're going to build something like that, you need a clever way to solve the cold start problem, a way to provide value even with 0 users. Otherwise, you're stuck. Avoid ideas where the customer and the user are different. These are complicated. The person paying isn't the person using. Their incentives are different. Their needs are different. You end up trying to please 2 masters. It's possible, but much harder. Avoid ideas you can't explain simply. If the concept is too complex, adoption will be slow. People don't have time to understand complicated things. They want simple solutions to simple problems. And finally, avoid ideas you're pursuing just because they seem like good opportunities. Opportunity isn't enough. You need obsession. You need to care deeply. You need to be unable to let it go. If you're pursuing an idea just because it seems smart, you'll quit when it gets hard, and it will get hard. Let me tell you what the right idea feels like, because when you find it, you'll know. The right idea feels inevitable, like it has to exist, like you're not creating something new, you're discovering something that was always supposed to be there. The right idea keeps pulling you back. You try to work on other things and your mind wanders back to it. You can't escape it. It haunts you in the best way. The right idea makes you feel alive. The problems are energizing instead of draining. The setbacks are challenges instead of defeats. You want to work on it even when you don't have to. The right idea connects to your whole life, your experiences, your skills, your relationships. Everything you've done before suddenly makes sense. It was all preparation for this. The right idea scares you a little, because you know if you pursue it, your life will change. You can't stay the same person. The idea will transform you as much as you transform it. When you find an idea like that, pursue it with everything you have. Don't hold back. Don't hedge your bets. Don't try to be sensible. Go all in. Because ideas like that are rare. Most people never find one. And if you found one, you owe it to yourself to see it through. But if you're not sure, if the idea doesn't pass these tests, if you can't answer these questions with conviction, wait. Keep looking. The right idea is out there. Don't settle for a good idea when a great one might be just around the corner. Let me leave you with this. Ideas are cheap. Everyone has ideas. What's rare is the combination of a great idea and someone willing to execute it relentlessly for years. The idea is maybe 10% of the equation. Execution is 90%. So don't fall in love with ideas. Fall in love with the process of bringing them to life. Fall in love with the work itself. Because the work is what matters. The daily grind, the small improvements, the unglamorous problem solving. That's what separates ideas that change the world from ideas that die in someone's notebook. Your idea is going to cost you years of your life. Make sure it's worth it. Make sure it passes these tests. Make sure you can answer these questions with confidence. And when you find the one that is worth it, when you find the idea that you can't not pursue, build it like your life depends on it. Because in a way, it does. The world is waiting for what only you can build. Don't make them wait any longer.